Hey there. Welcome to the Pine Island Experience podcast. I'm Joanna Anderson with my husband, Trygve. Each of our episodes will be conversations with fellow Pine Islanders.
The goal of our podcast is to share with you our experiences, what we have found to be fun, and what makes the Pine Island Experience so unique.
For the island, I think the Beacon Bites program would probably be the biggest one, just because we do provide that daily meal. And it really shows the amount of caring people that are on the island, because some of the island's biggest clubs, the Matlacha Hookers, the Kiwanis, and United Way themselves, they donate to this program because it's providing a meal, nutrition, that comfort every day. People who drive for the Beacon Bites do that to check on these 25 seniors that are in the program. And our restaurants, our local restaurants, starting from the Waterfront, Fuzzy's, Salty Girls, Off Island Burstore Tavern, the VFW, they donate some of these meals sometimes. Of course, we welcome them to invoice us anytime. But a lot of times they say, no, I'm donating the meals this week. And I think that, for small town restaurants here on Pine Island, they're hurting over the summer. It's the summer slump. And they're still, no, how can I help? You guys need extra meals. That program to me just really captures the helping spirit of Pine Island.
As Executive Director Nancy Cote shared, their motto is, we don't say no, we say, let me find out. In this episode, you'll hear how the Beacon empowers Pine Islanders with everything from meals and transportation to counseling and new services on the horizon. You'll come away inspired by the incredible difference they're making right here in our community. The Beacon of Hope truly does it all. And now, here's Nancy. Well, we're joined today with Nancy Cote, Executive Director of the Beacon of Hope Pine Island, and has truly been a beacon of hope for Pine Island since 2004. So we're really excited to hear all about you and all the services that you're offering the Pine Islanders. So welcome.
Thank you both for having me. Yes, I have been at the Beacon of Hope for a little close to a year now. But when I first moved to Pine Island, I was a volunteer and I have seen that place grow. So when an opportunity opened up for me to bring my talents from off island home, I was thrilled. And I love being, in charge of the Beacon of Hope along with the board. I think it's really been a transformative experience for me. And I hope that it will be transformative for the Islanders of Pine Island.
How nice when you started a new job, you're already familiar with it. That's an extra edge, isn't it? So that was great.
Yes, I was very fortunate that when I moved to the Pine Island, I don't think a lot of people know this about Pine Island, but Pine Island is full of some of the most accomplished women, strong, industrious women. And I met the former director, Betsy, who was there. She was a nurse, but she had a social worker's heart. And Sarah Seipel, who a lot of people who are old timers here may know her as Sally. She was one of the original hookers for the Matlacha Hookers. And both of those ladies really just encouraged me to continue my education and volunteer and become part of this island in a way that had never, been a part of the community before. Just a newcomer, they welcomed me. So thanks to those two strong ladies, I met a lot of other women who worked as CEOs, corporate America, nonprofits, and just learned from them. So I really feel that who I am or why people are like, oh, what's Nancy doing? What is she doing here? It's really just, I'm humble. I take everything that these women have told me, all of the secrets that they shared, all of their hopes for Pine Island as they age and move on and transition. I really take that to heart. I want to honor the women who've trusted me to continue the good work on Pine Island because it's such a special place. I think that when somebody moves to the island at first, I'll be honest, I remember my mother-in-law saying, you're like the Green Gables girl. You're just a city girl coming to this little island. And I felt like I was just out in the middle of nowhere coming from San Fernando in California. But with time, I realized this is one of the last small towns in America. And I am just blessed to be here and try to help people because with small town, I think that it's really hard for small towns to deal with big changes. And unfortunately, after multiple hurricanes and just, people putting their eyes on us through different podcast and everything, we've been discovered. So I think that a lot of people who grew up on the island, a lot of people who are generational families, they've never had that opportunity to understand what it's like to live off island, to work off island, to be an off islander. And I think everything that I've done in my career in Southwest Florida and social services to now has prepared me sort of to be able to hold their hands because our island is changing. And I think that the people of Pine Island deserve to be treated with dignity and respect as they deal with all of the changes we're seeing here.
You described it so well. And look at how you were blessed with mentors. That's amazing. And that's all when people come here, we hear about that all the time and what a community it is and how amazing it is.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up and where did you go to school?
So I am a Valley girl. I'm from San Fernando Valley, California. And I went to school in Reseda. I did go to Cleveland High School. And then my undergrad was at Pierce College. So I know Jeff said his was the Brahmas. Ours was the Brahmas too. And I loved it. But then fell in love with a really good Army guy. And I married him and just followed him with his military career. And that led me back here. So when I was volunteering at the Beacon, the ladies encouraged me to apply for scholarships because I was finishing up my bachelor's degree. I have a bachelor's degree from DeVry University in human resources, specializing in management. And that's what my undergrad is in. I'm still currently a student. I believe you're always a learner. I am in graduate school at FGCU, pursuing a master's in medical social work.
What inspired you to take the job as the executive director of the Beacon?
I understand that as the island's longest standing social service provider, they needed leadership that understands how social services are changing. I feel that I am going to school to become a better and long-term executive director there, but I'm also trying to prepare who's going to replace me. So I wanted to take the job knowing that I can give them a few good years, but I let them know I do hope to be a real retired person in Florida someday. So I haven't met one yet who's truly retired, but I hope that's me. I just wanted to help out at the Beacon. I talked to Elsie and Carlin, who have been with the Beacon for a long time, and I let them know I have big plans for our Beacon. I want to, like I said, just hold the hand of the islanders who have to deal with so many changes that we're seeing here on the island. They deserve that.
So let's back up just a second. Valley girl, etc., going to school, met a gentleman, got married. How did you find Pine Island, though? Did you get stationed here in the area of Southwest Florida, or how specifically did you find Pine Island?
My husband grew up on Sanibel. His mother was a waitress, and his stepfather was part of the island there. They grew up there, his family, Bill. And they moved here when he was a teenager. So when he joined the military, he left Pine Island. He was here as a teenager. And when he got out of the service, many young couples, or at least the ones that are like him and I, very forward thinking, he said, I can't just get out and not have health insurance because that's something that a lot of people our age aren't blessed with. So he stayed in the Guard and we came here and we lived with my mother-in-law. And a lot of people say, you lived with your mother-in-law, but my mother-in-law, I'm blessed to have her. She's always held my hand. She's a local lady here. She waitresses at the waterfront now. And she just really helped me acclimate to the island. She connected me to a lot of people and I was able to get jobs, going as an undergrad. I'm very strong in not carrying any debt. So I think for somebody, I'm not afraid to say my age, I'll be 39 this year. But for somebody that's 39, I think it's almost like I'm a unicorn because I don't have any student debt. So I cleaned houses and I volunteered all through my underground years because I think that that's important. I feel like a lot of people in my age bracket don't really take that seriously, where it's like you have to save for a rainy day. You have to only live within your means. So we both really took that very seriously. And that's why we lived with my mother-in-law. She was a blessing and let us stay there until we had enough to put down for a down payment. So we're very, very lucky to really call Pine Island home. Like we own our home, we live here. And I take that as a big blessing because we're both very financially, conservative. And we want to make sure we teach that to our daughters. And in my role as the executive director, I want to make sure that all the donations, all of the help that we're trusted to provide out is done the right way, because it's very important to be transparent for the donors, to for them to understand that what they donate goes to help people who truly need that. And I'm thankful for my time with United Way, when I had different roles within United Way of Lee Henry Glades, because they are the largest nonprofit in our area. And again, there I had many wonderful female mentors who taught me, this is how you operate a nonprofit. This is what you do to grow it. This is why it's important to foster the relationships with your donors, because at the end of the day, when somebody donates $5 to you and that's all they have, they're doing it because they have that trust that your organization is going to help people. And that's what the Beacon does. We have a lot of monthly donors that donate just that, and we have to make the best use of that. And we have to continue to foster those donations and ensure that the people who donate to our Beacon Bites program understand that every penny that they give us goes to feed a senior. And these seniors are people that keep teaching me these lessons of always save for a rainy day, because it's really humbling, to be doing home visits with some of the seniors. And these are veterans. These are retired, teachers, retired police officers who, even with Social Security and their pension, it's just not enough. And after trying to fix their home and living alone, we are their only meal. And that is incredibly humbling, but it's incredibly important. And I think that when people donate to things like that with the Beacon of Hope, I just want them to know you're making a difference. You're making a difference with every program that we have. The Beacon Buggy too, we take a lot of veterans to the VA. And my husband being a veteran, I think I kind of have like a little bit stronger, how can I help my veterans on the island? Because, they signed up to serve, and there's no reason why in America a veteran should have to worry about what their meal's coming from, have to worry about how they're going to get to the VA, or worry about filing paperwork with, multiple hurricane and disaster agencies. No, I am proud that our agency can help veterans in every capacity that we can, because they've already done so much, and none of us can enjoy our freedom or stay here peacefully without, their service. So I'm very proud that the Beacon is, really focusing on helping our veterans. We also empower, because like I said, on the island, it's good and bad how isolated we are. We've seen that there are a lot of young kids who, because they have to go off the island for middle school, it's a shock. It's a culture shock, because not everybody off island is an islander and treats the kids that way. So some of them drop out. And before, where kids could pick up a job here and there, one of our service industries, it's sort of drying up. And people who never took their education to the next level, they're holding those jobs that would have been for teenagers or kids who maybe want to not pursue school. So we're really thrilled that our GED program is taking off and that we're able to provide that assistance, because the GED is going to help them a little bit of the way, but we got to get them educated. I think that a lot of people don't realize that on Pine Island, our service industry depends on people who, at least have a GED, and we're helping them get that, because we really believe that, in my mind, and what I'm learning right now in graduate school, is if you're a good social worker, if you're a good social service provider, you meet with the person once, you do a biopsychosocial analysis on them, you help them overcome their problem, and you never see them again, because you did your job right. Mm-hmm. The helping relationship should be one time where you help them get over that little hurdle, whatever that may be, and then they can independently go on their own. So that's how we deal with direct assistance. It's a one-time help for islanders, but again, we take it very seriously. And I think coming from, bigger nonprofits, coming from bigger industries to down home here at Beacon of Hope, I'm proud that I was able to get that knowledge so that I can help continue the good work we do at the Beacon of Hope.
What would you say first drove you into this, or got you interested in this kind of work of community service and helping your community? Because obviously there's a myriad of professions that you can go into. What do you remember? Was there a single moment or what happened that drove you in this direction?
Absolutely. So, like I said, I'm from California. I grew up there. In California, we do a lot of social services. So in high school, everybody was told to join a community club. We had the Rotarians, the Kiwanis, and we were told join a club. When we did dual enrollment over there, it was almost like forced. You're going to enroll and get a trade, or you're going to enroll and go to college in 11th grade. But with that came volunteering. So seeing the impact of volunteering at a food pantry, seeing the impact of volunteering with people who were learning a different language, I think it instilled in me that If there's not somebody to help, we can't complain and say, why don't you try better? If you're not going to be part of trying better, helping that person be better, you can't complain that, oh, well, they're not. Yes, but what can you do? So to be as a solution focused person, I feel like that's what drew me to social services. I want to make sure that, I believe in people. I believe in people. I believe in everybody can't pick themselves up by their bootstraps. But if they don't know how to find their boots, you got to help them find their boots. So I think that's what called me to social services. My mom was a nurse, so it's always, in my family, it's always been part of us to help and leave every generation better than we found it, leave every place better than we found it, because that's the impact. You're not going to take your titles with you when you die. You're not going to take the money you made when you die, but you're going to be able to leave a legacy. And that's the type of leader I am. That's the type of community member that I am, is I want to leave a legacy. When people think about, oh, when my daughter's, what did your mom do? She helped. That's super important to me.
And if, in case anybody doesn't know, how would you describe Beacon of Hope and its mission?
The Beacon of Hope does it all. We've had different taglines. We're thinking about which one works now. But my mind and my personal opinion, it's always been empowering islanders since 2004, because they empower with education. They empower with volunteer opportunities. They empower with direct assistance one time, empowering the islanders to do better pre, post, during any natural disaster that comes our way. That's what the Beacon of Hope does. It empowers. So every donor that donates to us, you're helping to empower your fellow islanders.
So I'm sure you have a lot of services. Maybe highlight some of the ones that are closest to you or that you feel have some of the largest impact, for the island.
For the island, I think the Beacon Bites program would probably be the biggest one, just because we do provide that daily meal. And it really shows the amount of caring people that are on the island, because some of the island's biggest clubs, the Mount Lachey Hookers, the Kiwanis, and United Way themselves, they donate to this program because it's providing a meal, nutrition, that comfort every day. People who drive for the Beacon Bites do that to check on these 25 seniors that are in the program. And our restaurants, our local restaurants, starting from the Waterfront, Fuzzy's, Salty Girls, Off Island Birdstar Tavern, the VFW, they donate some of these meals sometimes. Of course, we welcome them to invoice us anytime. But a lot of times they say, no, I'm donating the meals this week. And I think that, for small town restaurants here on Pine Island, they're hurting over the summer. It's the summer slump. And they're still, no, how can I help? You guys need extra meals. That program to me just really captures the helping spirit of Pine Island. Your pillow says life is better on Pine Island. And it is, because people here live with such gratitude. People here live with such an open heart to just help their fellow islander. I think that all the other titles fall to the side if it's an islander. And that to me is the most beautiful thing. And that's all of our programs do that. They all empower with education, meals, with transportation, with direct assistance, and, that sort of just one-on-one counseling to help somebody get over the struggles. So it is hard to encapsulate it all, because we do it all. We don't say no. We say, let me find out. Let me see.
Is there a story you maybe want to share? Somebody that's really touched you from your work and your help and one of the programs that Beacon has?
I would say that the story that sticks out the most is my own. Because like I said, I was a volunteer there. And of course, I'm a social worker, so I can't reveal too much about anything. I can reveal about myself anytime. When I moved to the island, I felt so alone. I was a big city girl on a little island. And to find a community of people volunteering and encouraging you to try, to find leadership and women who said, let me write you a letter of recommendation. You should really apply for the scholarship. And I was blessed to get every scholarship on the island when I needed it. I think that that's what the Beacon does. It takes somebody who says, I'm not sure what I'm doing. I just need somebody to listen to me and see if there's any resources or what can I do. That's what the Beacon did for me. And that's why, as a leader of the Beacon, it's very important to me that everybody that walks through the door understands that we are their beacon. We'll figure it out. And if we hit a wall, we're going to see how we can climb it.
Pine Island has been through some challenges recently, in the last few years. Well, how would you say did the Beacon of Hope adapt to those changes? Have you seen seen big changes?
So going back to how the Beacon was founded, it was founded a few months after Hurricane Charlie, which was also a direct hit like Ian. And it was a lot of church members and community members that came together and said, how can we help? And I think that we kind of have always done that. Of course, somebody thinks that we're going to get another direct hit. But when Ian came, I was still working for United Way. So I said, how can I help my community? And they were gracious enough to say, go help your community, which was probably bad. That's probably how I ended up at the Beacon of Hope when they had that opening. But I worked alongside Elsie and Carlin, who have been great leaders with the Beacon. And they know the island. I mean, like I said, I'm very, very blessed that women who've really just done it all trust me to continue their mission. So I think that the Beacon has continued to adapt. They've always done that sort of help. Now I'm connecting them more to off-island resources, to bring those resources onto the island. And when it comes to hurricane, we are a Red Cross CAP partner, which means community adaptation partner, that post something like Ian again, the Beacon of Hope is ready. We have a building-wide generator, so we can have that back up to provide some relief from, the heat and let people charge their phones and use our Starlink. We have, just the computers are going to be ready to go. Our staff knows that, we come back. We have a good task force, which is a new thing that came up. That has changed, with Elsie's, like, you should interview Elsie next. But with her leadership, she found that we needed something to get our island back up and running because we are so far away. We're unincorporated Lee County. And, as much as a former county employee, I know the county does a lot of things for Lee County, but sometimes we're a white boots island. We just take it into our own hands. So Elsie said, we need to form this task force. We need to make sure we're ready to get this island back up and running. And Joanne, who you also interviewed, she's on the task force too. So I think that the Beacon has just adapted by gathering great leaders from the island to say, this is what I can do. This is how we're going to do everything immediately after the storm. This is where we're going to get the resources, because since we are the resiliency hub for Pine Island, United Way entrusts us too with resources and, community support. So this weekend, we're going to have an event where we'll be giving away hurricane buckets. So we really, I think the only thing that's changed is we're better at getting prepared, always staying prepared, because you never know.
What surprised you the most about the community coming together as it did?
Nothing, because I've lived here. I knew post any storm, I've been here for a few. We are part of that community that stays on the island because we have a safe home to stay in. So I'm not surprised. It's, you understand when you're going to go through a big storm that everything you see is going to be okay. You just got to get out there, put your boots on, get your gloves ready, go and help out your neighbor, and it'll be okay. So as devastating as every storm has been to our island, especially Ian, I'm never surprised by just what Pine Islanders do. We always get out there and help.
So what are your hopes for the Beacon in the near future?
My hopes are that we continue to grow, that we can provide more in terms of education for people, more options, more support for them to become educated, more classes. I did an assessment of the island before taking this job. And I mean, it's my home, so I always look at people, but I also look at what the government says and all that data says. And we're changing. Our average age on the island is 62 and a half. We have pockets of poverty. We have a new trend of dementia on the island, and caregivers who are just at their wits' end because everything is so far away from Pine Island. So in my mind, the Beacon is going to continue to help families and our service workers, but we're going to transform ourselves into a senior advocate center where we're going to be able to provide that support to caregivers, provide that information to seniors, because as somebody who will hopefully go into my golden years, I want to learn. I want to know more. I want to make sure that, Medicare isn't scary for anybody, because it is. I want to make sure that I understand about property rights and all that stuff that comes with aging and will and testaments and all of that, because I think people just think it's not going to happen to them. But I'm seeing more and more that our seniors are taken advantage of, that our seniors don't understand what's going on. And again, if you can't be part of the solution, don't complain. So I'm going to be part of that solution.
And how can Pine Islanders, businesses, visitors, how can they best support you?
Please donate to us. We do have a link on our website, Pine Island of Hope, Pine Island, and our Facebook, or you can always stop by the office at 5090 Doug Taylor Circle in St. James and ask for me. My name is Nancy. I'm sure that you guys will list my contact information, but just know that your donations make an impact locally. A lot of times, when you see places ask for donations, you don't really know where they're going. But when you donate to us, you're feeding a fellow island senior. You're providing support for a fellow island caregiver. You're empowering the youth of Pine Island so that we can continue to have leaders. From volunteers that are teens, volunteers who have to do hours for probation, to volunteers who are seniors and just want to get out of the house, we're there for the Islanders. So the best way to support the Beacon of Hope is to please donate so that we can keep the lights on and we can keep our programs running.
One of the things we've kind of noticed, I guess you might call it island culture, is Islanders seem to not like to leave the island. So your point about we're a little bit isolated, does that present any challenges where there are resources available that you folks can discover, work with, or advise people? Is there any hesitancy about accepting them? Now, if there's mobility issues, much different story, right? Because then that service has to come to the person. But for people able to get around, is it like, oh, well, if I have to leave the island, or are they seem willing to do that if the help's involved?
Leaving the island is hard for people because, like I said, that isolation, that culture out here, they trust you. And you have to feel people out. I got felt out when I first moved just to make sure, I was really an Islander. And I think after a few storms, I have been. So when we've had events at the Beacon of Hope, I think because there is just such an established trust between our organization as, a standalone since 2004 organization, people trust. So that's why it's very important to me that I have vetted people providing services because I fully respect the autonomy of our Islanders. I don't want to bring in people who will take advantage of the Islanders because these are my people. We're all American, but I think on Pine Island, Pine Islander comes first. So I think that, if we continue to invite services to the Beacon, if we continue to just tell people, hey, it's okay, I've talked to them for you. You can talk to them. They're more open to it. And that's why we're bringing medical help. I didn't mention that, but we are bringing more medical programs. We're bringing more, neurological programs. I'm trying to get more people to come in to do there's some new studies with dementia. So I'm trying to bring in stuff with that so people are aware of what is there for them. But again, if they don't know that somebody in their circle knows what they're talking about, they're not going to do it because they haven't been vetted. So I take that very seriously. I take that, it's a very humbling experience to understand that people come to the Beacon because they trust the Beacon. And I have to continue to uphold that. How can I continue to keep that trust?
What are the best way for people to learn about this? Do you have, for instance, website, Facebook, et cetera? What methodologies other than can people understand you in order maybe to entice them to come to the building and talk to somebody?
I am working on that, but we go old school. We're always, not old school, I shouldn't say that. We go traditional. We hit up the newspaper. Paula does a great support, so she always gets out all that we want for the community. Read your Pine Island Eagle. Our information's there. Please follow us on our Facebook and LinkedIn. I do update that regularly with all of our events and everything. Our website, I'm working on it, so it may look different in a little bit, but our website also has that information. But just stop in. Stop in. We're there. Stop in and shop at the thrift store. There's information about what we do there. If you have donations, you want to donate, bring them by. No furniture, please. But, clothing and small wares, come on in and check us out.
You mentioned the address. What about the hours?
So we are in summer hours now. The social services office is open Monday through Wednesday from 9 to 3. Our GED classes are Tuesday and Thursday at the Center of Excellence during the day and some into the afternoon, but you can call us for more information. We have ESOL classes at night from 6 to 8. We have our Music Monday experience on Monday for youth or golden year age people who want to just learn how to play an instrument. And then we have a variety of classes. If I say this, by the time it gets recorded, we'll have more. But please know that we're going to have a lot of great speakers for the senior community and for families in the coming months. So keep your eyes on the paper, keep your eyes on our Facebook.
Is there anything that we've not asked you that you want to share about the Beacon of Hope and or its programs?
I think I would say that if you don't know the Beacon of Hope, the best way to get to know us is to volunteer. So like every other nonprofit on the island, we're always looking for volunteers. This isn't, I'm thankful to be here and be interviewed, but the Beacon of Hope isn't me. The Beacon of Hope isn't its employees. The Beacon of Hope is Pine Island. So if you want to volunteer and be part of all the great programs we have, volunteer.
What are some examples? What are you looking for in volunteers?
A Pine Islander.
Okay.
Don't know what that means.
Well, it's an easy commute,
So it's an easy commute. Yeah. Somebody who wants to give back to the community. We're always looking for GED instructors. You don't have to have a teaching background, but if you're really good at math and you do your own taxes, come on by. If you want to teach English to people learning English, or if you're interested in starting a citizenship class, we're looking for something like that. Come and present your ideas. We always have different people that come up. Can I just talk about Medicare with the people of Pine Island? Yes, you can. If you have a talent that you want to share, come and find out how we can make it work with Pine Island. So I'm just looking for somebody who has a Pine Islander's heart, who understands that our people are special and unique, wants to bring joy to their fellow islanders. That's my perfect volunteer.
So thank you very much. This has been amazing. It's unbelievable how much you do at the Beacon of Hope. We sure enjoyed this interview.
Thank you so much for having me.
We hope you enjoyed our Pine Island Experience podcast. If you have any ideas for us, people to interview, or any comments, please feel free to email them to us at pineislandexperience@gmail.com. That's pineislandexperience, all one word, @gmail.com. Don't forget to like us, and you may subscribe to this podcast using all the major catchers like Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Thanks again for listening, and remember, island life is a constant vacation. We'll see you on the next podcast.